Welcome to the Messy City Podcast, where we talk with the people who design, plan, build, develop, or even just think about how to create beautiful, successful, and humane cities and towns. Let's learn from each other and create places we truly care about. Welcome back to the Messy City Podcast. This is Kevin Klinkenberg. Back to in-studio guests for a while, which I'm always excited to have. It just makes the discussion a lot more fun. Today, I have the chance to talk to somebody who has kind of taken over, I would say, the Kansas City development scene by storm a little bit, in part with an incredible social media presence, but also in part by taking on some really ambitious projects. So I've got Zach Molzer in the studio today. Zach, thanks for coming in.
No, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here. Yeah. I love getting a chance to talk, share the story, and talk about all the projects that we got going on.
Yeah, and you've got a lot going on. It does seem like. So I do like to level set a little bit and give people just some background. I think in your case, like one of the first things I just want to ask is like, Zach, how old are you?
I turned 25 last week. Is it what date's today? The 20. There's today 30th.
31st. Yeah.
Dates just mushed together at this point. March 18th, I turned 25, so I'm officially 25.
That's fantastic.
So, what, a third of the way dead or something like that? The average age, life expectancy right now is like 78. So
yeah, there you go.
We're good.
Hopefully longer as we get older.
Modern medicine's pretty cool, I think. So.
Not many 25-year-olds running their own development company.
No.
So why don't you talk a little bit about your background and how this kind of came to be? You're born and raised Kansas City, right?
Yeah. So I was born here in Kansas City, born on the Missouri side, but then went to high school at 8th Northwest. So off of like K10 and Woodland. Had a blast. And then my dad's side of the family is from Nebraska. And so I joke I was always born in the poverty of cheering for Nebraska athletics. I knew I wanted to go there since I was born. So I went to Nebraska for my undergrad. I had a major of management up there. And then my sophomore year, I added planning. So as a sophomore, that's when I knew I wanted to get into commercial real estate of some sort, whether that was development, but whatever it was, I wanted to be anchored by multifamily. So ended up graduating early. And then I worked for a developer / owner operator down in Tulsa. Had a blast, learned a lot. It was just two brothers and myself. So I was really thrown into the fire and figured it out. I was down there for about 2 years, and then I finally got to the point where I was just like, why am I making somebody else money? Why am I not doing my own thing? There's no time like the present. Take a risk on yourself, all that fun stuff. And I wanted to be back in Kansas City. I mean, I still lived here, but I was down in Tulsa probably 3 weeks out of a month.
How did you get hooked up with the Tulsa guys?
Yeah, it's a family friend. One of them, so it was two brothers. One of the family friend was one that wasn't really a part of the business at the time, like very involved. His brother was the one kind of running it. And so I got introduced to them, sat down and just kind of hit it off. And it just made sense for both of us. They were looking to grow. And I was looking obviously to be a part of something where I could help make a difference. And it just worked out. So
those guys, what sort of development were they doing and what were you doing for them?
Yeah. So, I was doing everything from raising the funds, putting together the capital stack, deal sourcing, finding the new opportunities. We self-owned and operated. We did all of our construction in-house. Wow. So it was really everything, which was great because you got to find out what areas I was good at, what areas I wasn't good at, but more importantly, what areas I liked, where I thrived and all that. So they were doing everything from buying an old independent living facility that was closed and converting it to apartments, to just normal stabilized deals where you go in, new countertops, floors, cabinets, all that fun stuff, to then adaptive reuse of taking, old buildings and converting them. So while I was there, I think I oversaw 3.5 different projects. One of them, I left midway through. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing, especially like right out of school at that age.
Yeah,
thrown into the fire like that.
Yeah, so I graduated when I was 21. I think about timing wise.
Yeah,
I graduated when I was 21, and then was down there till would have been 20. So bad at dates. We're in 2026 right now, right? I started my own firm in February of 2024.
So there's not a whole lot of 21-year-olds who know that sincerely what they want to do with their life.
Correct.
And are ready to work that hard at it. So what kind of separated you or what set you apart on that?
I don't know. Honestly, I think that I didn't. I say that I did. I say that like I wanted to get into development, all that stuff. I think I liked the idea, and I was infatuated with the idea of real estate and all that fun stuff. But I didn't really learn exactly what niche area I wanted to do until probably a year into working down in Tulsa, where I loved the construction side. I loved the idea of the timelines and us figuring out the different problems. And I was not born in a blue collar family by any stretch of imagination, but that is become something that I've been really good at, resonating with the subs, the contractors, dealing with all the pay apps. The city aspect stuff too is what I really enjoy. I enjoy being on my side of the equation. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to be, run for city hall or anything like that. But that part infatuates me, makes me really excited. And I feel I can make a big difference doing that. Raising funds has been also another strength of ours. Finding deals. I'm very personable. So those are the main things. Like, can I underwrite a deal? Obviously. I mean, I own a development company, but my time is not best spent sitting behind a laptop, doing all the math equations like that. I've got a team that helps us that. I can tell pretty quickly if a deal is going to work or not, just based off of what we're doing right now.
So how did you, at a young age like that, how did you learn how to source capital and raise money? I mean, that's the sort of thing that intimidates people 2 or 3 times your age.
100%. I mean, first thing is you just got to be willing to ask literally everyone possible, everyone under the sun for money. I remember asking college professors. You ask your family, you ask your friends, you ask your friends' parents, you ask literally everyone you could possibly imagine. And you just can't be scared. What's the worst thing that someone could say? No. That's it. So with the Aladdin, we raised $6 million. We have 32 investors, checks ranging from 25,000 to 750,000. Wow. A lot of our subcontractors that own like the contracting firm, they're investors in the projects. It's people that I haven't known that long. Like, again, I would say half of the dollars raised for the Aladdin, so about 3 million, are from people that I had met maybe a month prior to them wiring over funds, which is crazy. And you'd think like, what, are they insane too? It's like, well, yes, there's going to be some level of insanity with any of this, like I'm not saying it is, I'm not saying anybody can go out there I was 23 at the time and go and raise $6 million. It's hard to portray that on social media too, to like tell people, hey, like you can just do things, but also this is not normal. Like, I don't want people to get like false advertising of hope of like, oh, anyone can go do that. But if you put yourself in the right rooms and you ask the right questions and you build the right team, where it mitigates their risk, people invest in people. The Aladdin at the time was our first project, and that was the vehicle in which they invested in, but they invested in myself, my partners, and our team that we put together, and trusted that we will do anything to make sure that that project works, because we had a hell of a lot more to lose than them in a different way. They had a lot more to lose fiscally, but we have everything to lose because you don't mess up your first project, especially at 23. It's a bad deal.
Yeah. So tell people a little bit about what the Aladdin is. And I'm also curious about like, as you started to take on your first project, how many projects were you looking at before you decided to settle on the Aladdin?
One, Aladdin. It was it. That was the moment. So at the end of people's lives, they're going to have regrets. That's totally normal. But most people's regrets at the end of their lives are not things that they didn't do and wish they did. It's things that sorry, let me repeat that. It's not things that they did and wish they didn't do. It's things that they didn't do and wish they did. And so when I saw the Aladdin, I was like, damn, this is stupid. No way. Like, what am I missing here? And I talked to a lot of my mentors and, et cetera, about the project, about the deal, about what was going to go on, what I thought could happen. And honestly, none of them, they were like, yes, Zach, you're insane. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's doable. I was like, okay, like no one talked me off the cliff of saying, hey, that's dumb. A lot of my buddies did. They're like, dude, you're stupid. I was like, I know. Yeah. I mean, I already knew that. But yeah, it just worked out. Right place, right time. Again, putting together the right team to make it happen. So the Aladdin, when it's all said and done, which will open up in July, will be 122 units, a top floor cocktail bar, and over 20,000 square feet of amenity space. So about a $37.5 million project.
Right. And set the context for people. This is a historic hotel in downtown.
Yep. So the Aladdin was built in 1925. Architect Philip Drotz, Italian Romanesque, a beautiful 16-story building, beautiful terracotta, blue pyramid roof that closed down in COVID. So when we bought it, 80% of the rooms, the doors were locked, beds were made, towels were folded in the tubs, pens were waiting for the next person to stay there. It was pretty spooky. A half-baked cake in the kitchen. So we bought it, and anything non-historic, we ripped it out. So all new plumbing, HVAC, electrical, fire suppression, windows, walls, elevators, doors. We took it back down to the concrete floors, columns, and ceilings, and then rebuilt. So it's been a labor of love, to say the least.
So what, now going into it as having your own project, what has surprised you about executing this one from where you started?
It's I don't know. Nothing. I mean, there have been trillions of surprises with that project.
Yeah.
some small, some big, but everything in a way in which we upfront at least somewhat accounted for from a budget standpoint and time standpoint. Mm-hmm. What's wild to think about is we bought the building in June of 24, and our timeline for getting this thing open, we thought, hey, I know it's ambitious and aggressive, but we think we can get this done by August of 26. And we think we can get done for this price and all this stuff. We're on time and on budget, which is not normal.
Right.
It's actually quite insane, but we built an extra cushion to hit those timelines, which was great. It was smart of us up front. For a 23-year-old, my partner, his two partners from Chicago, 24 and 25 at the time. So it was a 23, 24, and 25-year-old running this. With the help, then we brought on Joe Christensen with Cardinal Crest to come in. He came in probably October to act in a way as like a general contractor consultant, part of that role. So again, it was just, it takes a village. I always talk about the team, but it's not like I own a $38 million building by myself. There's no way it would have been happened without, hundreds of people.
Do you ever think, like, with your team of 23, 24, 25-year-olds, do you ever feel like that actually gives you an advantage in ways that people don't think about?
That's part of our website. It says being youth is one of our greatest advantages. We're not bound by old methodologies. We can challenge the status quo. We can think differently. The other part is like, I know exactly what renters want because I'm a renter. You have people that are 60, 70 years old designing and building apartments that live in their 8,000 square foot home in Mission Hills. What the hell do you know about an apartment? You don't know anything.
Right.
You haven't lived in one for a long time.
Right.
So it's just kind of funny.
So when you went to purchase that one, was it actually for sale on the market? Was it in foreclosure or something?
Nope. So I got contact with the owner. He's an older gentleman from Memphis, and he was just done. Again, it closed down in COVID. Everybody and their mother looked at buying the Aladdin. It was listed for sale plethora of different times. It was getting ready to go to auction. And I was like, I can't bid on it at auction. I don't have the funds to bid on it at auction. You have to have proof of funds, all this other stuff. And I was like, I want it though. And he basically gave me the keys and was like, do the research you need to do. He goes, I'd love for you to have it because I love your vision. What was really cool about that story is, so his son, Larry's son, was starting to take over the company, which Wright Investment Groups, they're a huge firm that own a lot of hotels. And his son was taking everything over. Well, Larry wanted to redevelop the Aladdin into what we're doing, apartments and do all this stuff. His son was like, no, we're not doing that. This is not what we do. I know it's a passion project, but we're not doing that.
Right.
So when I got to meet Larry, he liked me. He liked the idea. He liked the passion. He liked the vision, but he was concerned isn't the right word, but he wanted to make sure that we were going to close. Again, the building had gone through everybody and their mother to walk through that to see if it would work. He wanted certainty of us closing. So we put up, we had one investor that was like, hey, I'm in, I believe in this. Let's do it. He's been my biggest investor, in our other projects as well. His name's John, great dude. And, he helped front some earnest money. So we had 30 days to go raise $2.5 million earnest money. So we bought the building for $2.5 million. We went to bed that night, $50,000 shy of being able to close, knowing that there was another $100,000 in the stratosphere at some point that was going to hit. I don't know if you've ever seen a wire, but I hate it. It sucks. And we had to go to bed. There's nothing else we could do. We wake up and it was there. So we closed on it May 31st. Technically, I don't think it really logged until June 1st. But yeah, it was absolutely surreal.
Yeah. What a process. When you thought about like doing apartments, who were you thinking about as like your target market in that part of downtown?
100%. That building we always knew was going to be targeted from 22 to 28-year-olds making less than $60,000 a year that just graduated college. They don't want to live in their parents' basement. They were in a fraternity or sorority. They don't want to live with roommates again, but they can't afford $2,000 a month to live downtown, but they want the walkability and they want the amenities in which all those other buildings have. They want the private parking. They want all the different club rooms. They want the co-working, the coffee, a real gym, the cocktail bar. It has all the amenities of what a building that should be priced significantly higher, but it's not. One of our slogans is for those with taste, because these are not normal apartments. They're not white boxes, it's not like that. It's very design focused, which has been cool.
So describe that a little bit more. What do you consider some like elements that are design focused?
I could just show you pictures, not that it would come up on the podcast, but like walnut cabinets, a back black splash, dark green vanities, in the bathrooms, custom mosaic tile bathroom floors, different sorts of like offsetted lighting, windows that function, just different things that, again, you can't go too crazy because at the end of the day, like you do need to adhere to 122 people.
Right.
You can't go too outlandish with design and things like that, but like the common areas and the hallways, they're not normal. Coffered ceilings. There's just a lot of little tiny details, even down to the trim work, that it's just not, you don't traditionally see it.
Yeah.
But it's because we cared and we wanted to honor what the building was and what it's going to be for the next 100 years.
Yeah. And then you've got this fun cocktail bar on the roof.
That cocktail bar will be unbelievable. It will end up being one of the hardest spots to get into in Kansas City. So seats 32. It is.
Was this an old ballroom or what?
So the ballroom's separate. That's going to be in a way like an event space, but the only way you can rent out the event space is if you also rent out the bar. So I would guess, and I hope I'm wrong. I would guess there's less than 20 events a year. I don't imagine it being an event space per se, because I know the price point in which we'll need to charge or want to charge to have that ballroom and the bar. Because if you have the bar, we know how much money we need to make to rent out the bar. And you'd have to have both, because it just, the flow of how it would work if there was a private party in the ballroom and the bar, because they are right across from each other, it'd just be weird. So it's not going to be a nuisance, to say the least. We'll also cap it at a certain amount of people, all that fun stuff. But the bar is on the 16th floor, right off the elevator. Again, seats 32. It's about 1,200 square feet. Views south of the convention center, Coppin Center Performing Arts, Municipal Auditorium. I mean, unbelievable sunsets. Great. And then to the west, Barney Allis Plaza, which we'll hopefully wrap up here by the end of the year, potentially.
Yeah, I think so. Hopefully.
But it's going to be gorgeous. And I'll show you renderings. It's going to be immaculate.
So not having developed like this before, how hard was it for you to find an operator for the bar?
Easy. So we found our operator, we bought the building in June. Would have been September. I knew exactly who I wanted. I wanted Christian. He was the co-founder of the Mercury Room, Barbonici, Verdigris, Monarch Bar. I knew I wanted them to come do this bar and that we were not going to do a bar unless we had them. I tried to get meetings set up with him for 3 months and couldn't. Finally, we met at the Mercury Room, had one drink, and I said, I want you to do this space. He goes, let me come look at it. So I was like, get in my car. So we got in my car, went over to the Aladdin, and I showed him 2 different potential spots where I thought a cocktail bar would work. One was on the first floor through the alleyway, and it would have been really cool. Problem was that alleyway is used a lot for traffic in the sense of the Marriott with their dumpsters and drop-offs and deliveries. It's also right outside the dumpsters. Kind of smelled weird. So that was originally vetoed. We went up to the top floor and he goes, this right here. I go, really? Right here. He goes, this is the spot. And I said, I totally agree. So worked on the partnership, and then now Christian and I are partners. So it's not a lease. It's a partnership between Molzer Development and Christian Caldas Holdings. So we own the bar there. And then this is the same guy I partner with that is doing the bar with me at the Holtman building. It's called Bar Phoebe. That one will be open June 4th to the public. Okay. Yeah. That one's a 10,000 square foot rooftop bar, full kitchen. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
So if we take a step back a little bit, you've had a super active social media presence the last several years. And it's, a year
and a half or so.
Is it only a year and a half? Really?
Yeah.
God, okay.
My first post was Happy Halloween on October 31st, 2024. Okay. But then we didn't post any videos until January of 25.
Yeah. So one of the things that I was going to note is you do a lot of video. And so talk a little bit about like how important has that been to you for that communication? Like what are you trying to achieve by being that active and doing the videos and everything else?
100%. So I'll first start by saying it wasn't me. I wanted to do it, but I had to bring on a team. I'm obviously running a development company. So I hired Annie. Annie absolutely crushed it, killed it. Took our social media from nothing to something. And we're everywhere now. Now Anna McQueenie runs our social media stuff. So she's, running all the day-to-day communications, telling me what to say, where to go, all that fun stuff. It's been great. It's been huge. The social media, when I first started it was like 5 routes of like different pathways that if it worked, it could be huge. One, investor communication, and investor onboarding, with seeing our videos and all that, you can see our honesty, our transparency, our authenticity. That our investors like that. It also encourages and attracts other investors, people that want to park their dollars on these projects, that want to park money in Kansas City. So that was huge. Second part is projects in general, people reaching out to us to own buildings, own land. Deal flow has never been higher because of what we have. The next part is the city and community support. The city has been lovely to us. The community support has been great. We are trying to change and show people that not all developers are bad. We're not all evil. I'm here too to make money, but you can do things in a approachable way and share the story of the building, of the process, of everything, and be open. You're not going to please everyone. That's not going to happen. Right. But from a development standpoint, and from people that would traditionally be upset about any project happening, they are not only not mad about our projects, they are supporters, which has been huge. Monetization. I mean, the only way that we've been able to stay afloat as a development company that brings in absolutely no dollars until a project's done has been through our offsets with social media. It's been, I mean, we have a team of 4 right now. There's absolutely no way that we've been able to stay afloat. Don't get me wrong. We're not making money. We are, right. I mean, it is the definition of break even, but it keeps us afloat, which has been, I mean, huge. The last part is other collaborations and stuff for contractors, subs, architects, of people really, really wanting to work with us and willing to do things at cost, or for a collaboration with a post, or just being a part of our team. I mean, an example would be is our general contractor that's on the Aladdin. They brought in, another 8 figures worth of deals last year just because of their association with our project. Our architect, when he first started the Aladdin project, he had a team of 3 and now has a team of 14. Like, those are indirect ways that I benefit too, but helping out society and community, it's been unbelievable that you can't put a tangible dollar to. Yeah. And if I could, I tell people, I think that if we just kept things what we're doing right now and kept it on autopilot, the platform, what it's created for us, I will never be able to put a true dollar figure on it, but it'll do everything. I mean, right now we're across Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We're at just over 700,000 followers. Last month we had 87 million views. So 160 million eyeballs, which is insane. Yeah. Put that in perspective. That's the entire state of Georgia and California all sitting in a room looking at you speak. That's crazy. So the reach is just insane. It's unbelievable though, how what it's done. And we haven't even scratched the surface. I mean, Can you imagine what happens when we open up our 2 projects that we're working on right now? We haven't even finished a project yet. Outside of the bus stop, which is awesome. That definitely counts as a project.
I would definitely want to talk about the bus stop in a sec. But and you even through that, you engage with elected officials directly in social media as well.
Yeah, I mean, you check my Twitter, you see Q and I going back and forth, and good conversations where I'll call out some of their stuff. Like I'll be like, "Hey, this is stupid," and there's good dialogue then between us. Like all people want is transparency and having good rational conversations. That's it. Like I'm not here. I can think one way and someone can think the other. That's fine, and I like that. That's why we live in America. Everybody has freedom of speech. We can have different opinions and thoughts. All people want, in my opinion, is we should be able to just talk about it in the same room together. And so that's what's been great. From the mayor to city council to staff. I mean, literally anyone, if we need to, I can pick up a phone and I can get them on the line immediately, which is great.
I mean, it's interesting because I feel like in some ways this is like a commercial for Kansas City as well, because here you are, somebody in your 20s, able to not just talk about things, but you're doing projects. You can engage with the mayor. I mean,
I would agree with that. And so with that comes the flip side. They don't want me to talk bad, which has helped. I would never do that, but they want to make sure that I continue to do what I'm doing and continue to build and invest dollars here and continue our projects and continue to hype up our city because I love it. The last thing they want is for my process for permitting and review and all that to be a pain in the butt. And then I go, hey guys, this sucks. Don't build here. Like what a lot of developers are dealing with in LA, you can't build there. Like there's nothing you can do. I'm not saying we want Kansas City to turn into Austin and just, remove all the red tape and just go build and have fun, but there needs to be some level of, of change. And so it's been nice to be able to be on that side of the equation to help that.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's talk about it. So you've got the Aladdin going and cooking and then talk about the next project.
Yeah. The Holtman building. So the Holtman's on 18th and Holmes, was a vacant 40,000 square foot old industrial / warehouse building. When it's all said and done, it will be, let's dial this in, 11,000 square feet of office, 2,000 square feet of retail, which will be a bathhouse, sauna, cold plunge experience thing. 4,000 square foot member private club, 10,000 square feet of storage in the basement, 8 very high end lofts, 3-bed, 2-bath, heated bathroom floors, like insane lofts on the second floor. And then a just under 10,000 square foot rooftop bar, open to the public, with a great restaurant, all that fun stuff. And that will be done 8 weeks from today, which is
the bar or the whole thing?
All of it.
All of it.
All of it.
Wow.
Not the bathhouse part, but the rest of it will be done.
So why did you choose this particular mix of uses? What were you thinking?
We wanted third spaces. We wanted places where people could activate, people could stay, people could leave. But at the end of the day, it's a community. So one of the office spaces is a general contractor, which is bringing about 60 new jobs to Kansas City. They were in Lee Summit. Now they're coming downtown. That's huge for our economy. That's big. We need more jobs. If we want more growth, we need more jobs. The second office part is a creative office for creators, a studio. So it'll be a podcast studio, a filming area, a place for creative people for them to, bounce ideas off each other, different co-working pods, study rooms, conference rooms, etc. So think an elevated switch yards, but for those in the creative world. So media, film, advertising, PR, etc. That'll be called Crossroads on Commons. My buddy John Pledgey is doing that. The bathhouse, super pumped about that. Kyle Stepp and Carrie Bacon are leading that project. I've been working with them for a year trying to figure out exactly what space and how this would work and function. We're super excited to have a lease signed and excited to get them rolling on that. So that should open up in the early fall. The members club, there was this garage that's like attached to the building that I didn't know what to do with. It's not big enough to you could park one car in there because I don't know how you'd get out without, you could fit a boat in there. Don't get me wrong, but how it would not function as a garage. So I was like, okay, what do we do with this space? And one of the places that I wanted to do was I wanted a spot for other young entrepreneurs or even just regular entrepreneurs and like-minded people to be able to get together, have a happy hour, to be able to go there, relax, and hang out. That's not overly priced, but it's also not at a bar setting where you're always just approached and pitched for business and things like that.
Right.
And so it was just a private club. So just an area for people to go and hang out whenever. It's open 24 hours, 7 days a week. If you want to apply, it's called thegaragekc.com. There'll be a fully stocked bar, self-serve, Godspeed, a golf simulator, a poker room, bathrooms, a place for people to disconnect. Again, another third space, a gym, all that fun stuff. Storage down in the basement made sense. Storage, we need, especially downtown urban storage. People have a lot of stuff, especially in these apartments that they don't have a lot of storage options there.
Right.
The lofts, we wanted to create something that didn't exist, which is larger, very, very, very upscale lofts that are rentals and not for sale. All of them are already pre-leased. We don't have a website. We don't have anything. It was all just word of mouth. They will be some of the highest rents in Kansas City, chunk rent wise. And that is something I'm very proud of because we also need more affordable housing. We also need a lot more people with disposable income that can go and spend $1,000 at Farina on a Tuesday if they want to. And then the rooftop bar just made sense. So that building, when it was built, it was originally going to be 5 stories, but they ran out of money. So it was only 2, but structurally it could hold up to 3 more stories on there.
Wow.
We were looking at doing that and adding more floors of apartments. I always hated how Kansas City did not have any good patios or rooftop bars, at all. And so we're building it. So Christian and I were like, hey, let's go build the largest and the best rooftop bar / patio in Kansas City. And that's exactly what it will be when it's done. There will be simply nothing like it. It'll be absolutely insane.
That's great. That's all really cool. So, of course, I'm fixated a little bit on the bathhouse, and that's some of my smart ass comments on Twitter the other day. But, but what does a modern bathhouse mean? What does it look like?
That is a wonderful question. I am not involved in the design. I am not involved in the build out. They are good people, and I know their vision is unique compared to what's already out there in the market. It's not like a sweat house. It's not like a clay,
like a spa or something.
Yeah, it's more community focused. I think what the biggest difference was, it's not like, I don't know the word I'm looking for. Arrogant's not the right word. It's not kludgy. It's not, it's not private. It's supposed to be for, having fun, community.
Right.
They want a lot of people in there. There's a community sauna in a sense where you can have 20 people in a sauna.
Right.
I don't get it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not their clientele per se, but I get the concept of why a community focused bathhouse, sauna, cold plunge, that vibe could work and why it's needed here. Cause they're all over the country. There's just not one in Kansas City yet.
Yeah. I guess
that has that community focus.
I guess the only thing I can think of as a comp that comes to mind is like at the Elms, the sort of the grotto in that area below the Elms.
That could be a good comp.
Yeah.
But this place isn't that big. This is only like 1,800 square feet. So you know what? We'll know more soon when they start building out, and we get plans, and eventually, obviously, the press and everyone's reached out to us, and we're declining anything right now because they don't know exactly what the design of everything's going to look like. Right. I don't either. I'm just the landlord, but I'm here to help blow them up as best I can. Because at the end of the day, if they win, we all win.
So if we step back again and thought about this building, what did you see about this building that wanted you make you take this project on?
Location, basis, structural integrity, and what it could be of all the different spaces. When I tell people all those different end uses, they're like, dude, pick a pain point because there's a lot. But when it's done right, it will be truly the new term of mixed use. It will be the most mixed use building in Kansas City for sure.
Yeah.
I think there's excluding the 8 lofts, count that as one. There's like 12 different uses in that building, and it's only 40,000 square feet.
Yeah.
But it'll be awesome. It'll be really, really unique. I think it will attract a lot more people to the area. The East Crossroads is obviously continuing to grow, right on the Max Truce line, right by all the different bars and restaurants. I mean, the Crossroads is not slowing down anytime soon. My hot take is that the Crossroads is nowhere near what it will be over the next 7 years. And I don't think people realize what will be the Crossroads. It will be insane. It'll be awesome. It'll be insane. I think you'll see thousands of more apartments, hundreds of thousands of square feet of office and retail, 10 plus cranes in the skyline over the next 5 years, some tall buildings, some brick buildings. I think you'll see a lot of construction going on the Crossroads over the next 7 years. And I say that because we will be a part of that 100%.
Well, I love the sound of it. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just walk around at all down there, you can feel how much empty space there is today.
100%.
Like even with all the great stuff that's happened over 25, 30 years, there's a lot of empty space.
A lot of space, a lot of parking lots still.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about the bus stop.
That was just insane. That was me just being crazy. We knew we needed a little help with financing through the KCATA, so we got through our Start Bond program. We told them we wanted to improve the bus stop, and I remember having a conversation with Michael Riley. I said, "Hey, I don't know, like, what if we made a bus stop like out of art, like made it an art piece?" He goes, "I'm fine with that." And he was like, well, "What about a bus?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "A bus." He's like, "Do you want a bus?" I was like, "Sure, I think I could make a bus stop out of a bus." And so I reached out to this metalwork guy, or actually he reached out to me for a different thing. And next thing you know, we drug it up to Marceline, Missouri. Mason fabricated the whole thing and made a bus stop. So what people need to realize is that it's privately funded by my team. That is not the cities. It's not the KCATA. They did not dish that out for, I own the bus stop. I hope people treat it like a work of art as it is, because it's awesome. It was just sweet. So now we are working with them on hopefully doing this, a lot more times, to say the least. Yeah. There are more buses, and we can.
I imagine there are a lot of decommissioned.
There are a lot of decommissioned buses.
Yeah.
And what else do you do with them besides scrap them? Yeah. You can turn them into art.
So I can also imagine this is the sort of thing that got a ton of traction on your social media.
Tons. Yeah. I mean, everyone was like, what? And then, I remember I tweeted it out, and I think it has like 3 million views right now of just like what we did with the bus stop. Yeah. It's cool. You can just do things. And that was the craziest part about that project was no permits, no approvals, nothing. Didn't need anything. I was like talking to the city. I was talking to the KCATA. I was talking to planners. I was like, you swear to God, I don't need anything. I was like, can you write that down? They're like, yeah. I was like, I don't need anything. Nope. I was like, okay, well, I want a waiver of release of liability. They go, here you go, signed. Yeah. It's like, okay, all right. Guess we can just put buses on the sidewalk. Yeah. It's just funny because, when you're doing your actual project, you'll have an inspector come through and get pissed about 1 inch door offset being wrong. It's like, but you can just put a bus on the sidewalk.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's incredible. Like the power of the creativity you can have when you're allowed to have that creativity.
Exactly. I think the biggest reason why it was so like cool and important and why they liked it is because no one thinks like that. Like no one thinks outside of the box. And like back to my point earlier is you can just do things. You just have to ask, have a good plan. But you can just do things like, even if it sounds crazy, which it doesn't just sound crazy. It looks crazy, but it's really cool. If you haven't checked it out, you have to go drive by. It's awesome.
That's right. It's the bus stop.
The bus stop.
Easy to find.
Yep. 18th and Holmes.
So you're only a couple projects in. Neither of these are open yet.
Nope.
What else? You must be looking at other stuff too.
Yeah. So we close on a building in the West Bottoms. I can finally talk about it today.
Cool. So
we're closing on 1280 Liberty Street in the West Bottoms. So just south of the viaduct. It's a 5-story brick and concrete building, built in 1905. It's the Advanced Thresher building. It's absolutely gorgeous. Our plans for the time being are unfortunately nothing. We're not doing anything for the time being. We're just going to continue to wait. We need the storage space. We have a couple tenants in there that are moving in when we close. I would imagine we start construction at some point in the next 3 years. I'm not very patient, so we'll see how long that lasts of 3, or if it's 2, or if it's 1. Yeah. It just makes sense to buy right now and wait. It could make sense right now to start construction, but there's no harm in waiting. So we'll wait. Eventually, we're trying to work on a larger master plan down there. So there's no reason to start on what would be the smallest project by itself when we might be able to assemble a lot more down there. So time will tell. I think by the end of the year, we'll have a pretty good idea on what the scope of that one building will be, and then the scope of anything else that we're looking at over there. But that's exciting to have our another building, which is kind of funny. They keep getting older. Aladdin was 1925, the Holtman's 1918, this one's 1905. So I don't know the deal with that. And then townhomes on 73rd and Antioch. I don't know when this podcast is getting released. Hopefully not like tomorrow.
No, not tomorrow. Maybe a couple weeks.
All right, we'll be fine. We'll hopefully be through rezoning by then. But yeah, we're going to build 50 townhomes on 73rd and Antioch. Hopefully be able to break ground by the first of the year.
Okay, that's great. So in a scenario like that, that's a little different. Are you like basically doing land development?
Yeah, so it's ground up townhomes. Yeah, so we bought the land and we're going to go vertical. I have two other partners on that project. Joe with Cardinal Crest is going to build them. They'll be beautiful townhomes. Okay,
great. Yeah. So in that case, you kind of build, you assemble finished lots, sell them to the builders, or is it just kind of a
we'll develop it. Yeah, we will develop it. Okay. We will build it, and there will be rentals.
All right.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
So the West Bottoms thing is kind of fun to think about. Always love the West Bottoms.
I love that building.
One of my favorites.
I can tell you the plans. I mean, it's one of two different things. It's either going to be roughly 50 key hotel or 32 apartments. Yeah. That's it. It's one of those two.
Yeah.
I don't know which one yet. Again, it all just depends on what else continues to evolve and happen down there. Either way, we're really excited. It's a beautiful building, great location. Yeah. West Bottoms is only just beginning, and I still think it's early.
Yeah, very early.
So it was a good buy. And obviously, we look at probably 5 projects a week, whether that be a stabilized asset that's already apartments, garden style deals, land, other old buildings. We've got the capability to take on some more projects, especially when we wrap up the Aladdin and the Holtman. And those will be done, in July. Mm-hmm. So there's a little gap on our quote unquote construction timeline of people are like, oh, you're going to be bored. I'm like, trust me, those operating and doing that with the Aladdin and the Holtman, that'll keep me busy. We've got a lot going on, but we're excited.
So what meets your criteria, your interest as you sort of filter through projects or possible projects?
I mean, one, it's got a math, but I mean, there's 3 things that determine a project. Really, only 2 in my opinion, but basis, location, and overall feasibility. Mm-hmm. Feasibility meaning a bunch of different things. Meaning how well is the city, like how easy are they to deal with? Is it already zoned correctly? Entitlement process. How are the neighbors? What level of city support do you have? Incentives. That's all jumbled into one. But basis and location are the 2 things that are most important to us.
Yeah. And then in the environment we have today with really challenging construction costs and everything else, how are you managing around all of that with your projects? I know.
Yeah, I mean, you got to build in enough contingency, 100%. Yeah. You have to have some level of assistance, whether that's a tax abatement, TIF. I mean, there are tools that are available, and they're available for a reason, and that's to help offset some of these costs. Right. Because at the end of the day, if we don't build anything, then housing costs are just going to continue to go up. Everything's just going to continue to go up. The only way to grow out of the deficit of our city budget is to build more. Yep. We've built a city that we can't afford. It is 45 miles long. We built the city we can't afford. The only way to get out of that deficit is 3 routes. And you tell me which one is your favorite. You cut expenses. So the police force gone, just cut it out completely. That would be bad. You raise taxes significantly, which we're already talking about getting rid of the 1% earnings tax, which would absolutely be detrimental to our city. But you double taxes or you build out of the deficit. Right. People don't like what that means, though. Building more is you need to have by right zoning. You need to let developers go and build. You need the city and the EDC and port, and everyone's got to get on the same page about what costs look like and rents look like. With that, we need more affordable housing. We need more glass towers. We need a lot of things. We need more jobs. But the only way to get all those things is to build. And so I can play a very small role in that, but we need a lot more of it. And so otherwise, things are just going to continue to be unaffordable, which, by the way, Kansas City is very affordable.
Yeah. By and large, compared to, but it's gotten worse.
100%.
The last 10 or 15 years,
1,000%,
like a lot of places.
Yep, exactly.
So, through the work that you've done, especially the social media presence, do you feel like you have inspired other friends or colleagues to get in the game too?
100%. I mean, you should see my DMs. They're just flooded with young entrepreneurs wanting to go and do and help and build and piggyback off ideas. And I mean, it's been crazy. And that's honestly one of the most fulfilling parts is if I can yield one more developer that creates one home in the entire country, just one, then I did something, right? Yeah. I can do what I'm doing on my part, but if I can inspire somebody else to go and build and go, challenge the game and do something, that's huge. I don't know why most people think this way, but I don't have competitors at all. We're all different enough. We're all might be looking at the same deal, but a deal that I look at and I buy and pursue that somebody else already looked at and pursued, they think I'm crazy, but then I get done and maybe I make money and all this stuff. well, it's not that I was smarter than them. It's just we looked at things differently.
Right.
We need more developers. I will always encourage more people to get into development and go and build because we need a lot more of them. So if you are thinking about getting into development, call me. Like, I'm happy to help you. Versus there are a lot of developers out there that I have reached out to when I was first getting started that were like, well, I'm not going to help you start your own development company. I'm like, why? It's like, you're scared of a 23-year-old. Like, that's flattering. Like, that's cool. But why? Like, we need housing. There's enough for Kansas City's big enough. There's enough for all of us to go around, and our country's big enough. There's enough for all of us to go around. Everybody can eat.
No doubt. And frankly, we've been losing developers over the years.
Correct.
We need a whole lot more people
100%
who are willing to step in. So, Zach, those are great words and probably a great place to stop. For anybody that wants to follow you and learn more about what you're doing, where do you suggest they start?
Yeah, I mean, all of our platforms are all the same. It's just Molzer Development, MOLZER, and then development. Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, a lot of fun stuff. Our website's up and running, which is cool. And then, come and check out the bus stop. And again, in 8 weeks from now, so again, I don't know when this launches, so maybe June 4th will be our grand opening at the Holtman building, for the rooftop bar. So hope to see you out there. It'll be a good time.
Just in time for World Cup.
That was very strategic. Very strategic.
That's right. Well done. All right, Zach, thanks so much for doing this.
No, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right. Take care.